Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum. It is exactly 12 minutes after 9 o'clock South African time. We cross over to Europe, to Berlin in particular, and we're going to be talking with the director of the World Uyghur Congress, and that is Gheyyur Qurban. And this has to do with the Chinese President Xi having visited Urumqi. What does the visit in fact suggest? Is it good news for the Uyghur people, or is it once again trying to understand where and how they can further suppress the rights of the Uyghur Muslims in this region of China known as Urumqi by the Uyghur people? Assalamu alaikum to you. Welcome to the program.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you very much for having me.
Sadly, we're not talking about good news as far as the rights of our Muslim brothers and sisters, the Uyghur people in China is concerned. We understand that President Xi visited Urumqi for the second time in just over a year. And also the reports we're getting suggest that he has vowed to double down on China's hardline policies toward the 11 million Muslim Uyghurs who live in the far western region of China. What have you heard so far?
Yes, this is one of the another unfortunate development in the region. As you just mentioned, the president of People's Republic of China, Xi Jinping, who is the mastermind and the
Okay, Gheyyur,
Yes.
let us please reconnect with you. The line is very, very bad. We're going to try and phone you back. In the meantime, we're going to listen to some ads.
For a long time, we've lived in a centralized world where institutions held the all-important data and confirmed all transactions. Those times are over. Welcome to Libertas Group, a blockchain development company boasting an ecosystem that continually redefines the way we do business. Our blockchain is decentralized, making it immune to hacking or alteration, putting the power back in your hands with no middleman so you can focus on the growth of your business. Libertas, the simplest investment choice you'll make.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
At the time, I didn't feel that great because I trained very hard and I couldn't take a picture on the podium because they wanted me to take my scarf off.
It was a confusing moment for all of us because it's never happened before. Nakiba also was feeling conflicting because she wanted to approach the podium.
At first, I never saw myself in completing a national tournament. I just tried my best along the way, but I wasn't expecting to be at that type of level.
A young South African 16-year-old Nakiba.
Salam Media, a global voice for humanity.
When you give water, you're reaching out to drought-affected areas, bringing them to life. Fresh water to drink, to clean, and to grow. That's the power of water. Donate now to Islamic Relief.
Salam Media, your link.
Well, the answer is there's more to come because you said they've run out of the money that is there for them to do the wrong thing easy instead of taking care of their community. It's quite disappointing, but at the same time, they have gone for the easiest solution, which was using more than they were allowed. And now they can take the money that was not budgeted. Now they're going to treasure the arm and go and break the law. More money available for them to bend. That's what they are saying. They say, allow us to bend more than we were. What you need at ESCOM, you need to say, much as all of these things were sold to Iraq are now unsustainable, get somebody that the contract that has got the president and his family, then there will be no load shedding. That is why Russian quit, volunteered to leave, because he could go in there and shield government officials and the private sector, that wrong contract. You need somebody to go in, terminate all these illegal contracts, structure there, take the money from us for electricity, prioritize the ESCOM coal power station. There is a solution, but it's not a solution that requires someone who's on the culprit.
Sakele Mandela.
This is Salam Media. Listen to something fresh. Listen to Salam Media, your humanitarian broadcaster.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back, and we're going to try and reconnect with the World Uyghur Congress Director, and that is Gheyyur Qurban. Assalamu alaikum, welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. I can hear you pretty clearly.
Okay, we started out by talking about the visit by Chinese President Xi to the region where over 11 million Uyghur Muslims are living, and that, of course, is the issue around the question to be asked, obviously, is whether that was a visit that bodes well for the Uyghur people and their rights, or does this further create more hardship for the Uyghur people? And they are in an area called Urumqi, and of course it has been controlled by the Chinese since, well, for a long time. But we also know that the Chinese clamped down hard on the Uyghurs since 2017, having detained 1.8 million Uyghurs and other Turkic minorities in concentration camps. Has the visit been welcomed by the Uyghur people, or does this just bode more hardship and bad news as far as the Uyghur people's condition is concerned?
Yes, thank you very much for having me, first of all, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all audiences, dear brothers and sisters. Yes, this is certainly another tragic and bad incident which is happening in our region. As you're mostly aware, the current Chinese President Xi Jinping, after he took office as president, he came to East Turkestan and directed the ongoing genocide politics against Uyghurs and other Turkic Muslim communities, which is now recognized by more than 10 national parliaments as an ongoing genocide. And this mastermind and mass murderer visited again just last week, reiterating that his genocidal politics has been implemented over the last few years, exactly saying the 2017 is quite effective to containing and banning and prohibiting, among others, Islam and other cultural elements of the Uyghur nation in this region. And as he has visited a few times the Urumqi, the capital of East Turkestan, the homeland of Uyghurs. Every time when he visited our homeland, there are harsh politics that the region ever seen comes into effect and brings huge disaster and misery to the people, and causing deaths and the millions of arbitrary detention in the internment camps. And we expect also this time that especially he reiterating that the harsh politics that he masterminded, he designed it as a chief architecture, should be continued. And more emphasis, he also especially emphasizes to contain and prohibiting Islam, the holy religion in our homeland, which has been survived since 13th century. and now being being educated.
We understand that Beijing has also sought to destroy religious and cultural sites and eradicate the Uyghur language and its culture. And this has been in force since 2017, as you have also indicated. What is happening with those people who try to push back against this type of mentality by this by the Chinese government? Are there very harsh penalties that is meted out to the people who push back?
Yes, certainly. Ever since the last Chinese emperor, ever since the last Chinese emperor seized the control of over homeland, the East Turkestan in northwest of today's China, and the taking power and the Chinese nationalist government and this actual the Chinese communist government taking power in 1949. Those Chinese leaders have always tried to assimilate, to erase the cultural identity of the people who living in the region, in all over region in East Turkestan, but it is also valid for the other regions that the China has seized, like Tibet and Inner Mongolia. In all these regions, the Chinese government has been implementing um, uh, very harsh policies to eradicate the local cultural and religious identities. In this framework, the Chinese government, in this framework, the China has ever established the containing the religious freedom, which means also that they abolished the Islamic institutions, and they also disgraced the Islamic leaders, and also uh, the actual position of Islam in the region, and they also harshly punished every single dissent against the government policies, and they regarded this as a terrorism, especially since 2001. They immediately joined the international a political trend to condemning everything, every dissent from the Muslim communities as a terrorism, and China has used this as a precaution to massively and crack down on the Uyghur nation. In the recent reports also shows, for example, in the recent crackdowns that has been started 2017, which developed it being which is then later developed in a genocide, which has been recognized by 10 national parliaments all over the world. The Chinese government has especially and harshly punish the believers, the Muslims in the region for whatever they show the religious symbols, or whatever they wear as Islamic clothes, and whatever they practice the region. And one of the reports that has also mentioned in the international media shows that the Chinese government even punished those Uyghurs who have teached Islam or learned Islam 30 years ago. 30 years ago, those people who already in the older ages of 80 and plus, they also been arrested and put into the concentration camp for their religious beliefs. So the Chinese government in the region now almost established it to erase the obvious signs of Islam in the streets, on the signs. For example, the halal signs is everywhere removed, and verses or other signs of other Islamic signs has been completely eradicated in the streets. But also the Uyghur children was forcibly to learn the Chinese language and abandon and give up their religion, but also forced to spying at home against their elders, so that once they come back from the schools, they being asked whether your parents, mother, your father has been praised, whether they teach you anything from anything about Islam, or whether they encouraging you to believe in Islam, or whether they encouraging you to making a prayer, and even the usual is after the eating, and they also being reported and also being harshly punished as a sign of religious extremism in this region.
Rusha Abbas, Executive Director of the Campaign for Uyghurs, has said that President Xi's use of the phrase Sinicization of Islam meant war on Islam, whilst counterterrorism measures meant mass imprisonment. So, in that context, he strongly emphasizes cultural assimilation, Uyghurs, as you have said, to learn Chinese, and the Sinicization of Islam, which is really the war on Islam. How do you see that? Do you read it in the same context? Gheyyur, are you there? Okay, we seem to have sadly lost our guest in Berlin, and that, of course, is Gheyyur Qurban, World Uyghur Congress Director, talking to us about the visit by Chinese President Xi to the region formerly known as Turkestan, now being ruled by China under communist rule. And as you've heard, the people of Urumqi or Turkestan are under severe oppression. They are being thrown into concentration camps. They're and they are being jailed for possibly caught reading the Quran, reading Salah. Any halal signs outside of restaurants and eating houses have been totally banned. And the Uyghur Muslims are under severe threat. The United States and legislatures of several Western countries have declared those abuses committed by China, including arbitrary detentions, torture, forced sterilizations of Uyghur women, and the use of Uyghur forced labor, saying that it amounts to genocide and crimes against humanity. I believe that more needs to be done to really to really free the Uyghur people from the yoke of Chinese rule, allow them self-determination, and allow them to practice their religion in absolute and total freedom. That's where we leave it. It's exactly 9:30 a.m. We will be talking with our Executive Director, Advocate Stephanie Fick, in a minute or two, so please do stay with us.